We the People of the States of Bharat is a story of how the internal maps of this country have been changing from 1947. I've covered the period from 47 to 2019 because this has been a period where all the states, none of the constituent units which were there in India in 1947, when we were still a dominion, all of them have changed, either in terms of geography or in terms of their name or in terms of their status. I think the defining moment was when I was able to collect these maps from the Survey of India. And so when these maps came from the Survey of India, I put them all in the library and I started comparing all these maps to each other. When you start looking at the maps, then you start reading books and you start discussing with colleagues and you start getting articles on the subject. Some of the things were totally unexpected. For example, I did not think that I'll come across a proposal of merging Bengal and Bihar in 1954. So that came as an interesting moment. I didn't know about how the setting up of the Berlin Wall in 1961 led to the integration of Goa with India. So there are a lot of, because it was a 2.5-year process, so every 2-3 months one would come across certain facts which one had never thought one would know about them. The takeaway is that history is always in the making. The takeaway is also that we got to recognize and appreciate the linguistic, the ethnic diversity of the country. And in many ways, it's also reflected in our national anthem. Our national anthem itself says Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravido, Utkala, Banga. So, unlike many national anthems, which have only one thing to talk about, or only one language, or only one community to talk about, we talk about multiplicity. You take a look at our currency note. On the currency note of India, you find that 1 rupee or 500 rupees is written in 17 languages. There's no country in the world whose currency has 17 languages on it. We have 22 languages which are part of our 8th schedule. So it's a very diverse country, and the more we respect the diversity of the country, the stronger we would be. And India also shows us that there is no contradiction between being a good Punjabi and being a good Indian, being a good Maratha and being a good Indian. You can be a Bengali and you can be an Indian. You can have multiple identities, because as people are getting married across states, across cultures, across religions, we are also getting a new composite identity of being a positive, of being an Indian who can speak many languages, who can align himself or herself with many ethnicities and many regions of the country. The inspiration was that I noticed that there is no book which has looked at the history of India from the perspective of the states. Almost all our books have been based on personalities. There are n number of books written on Mahatma Gandhi, on Jawaharlal Nehru, on Ambedkar, on Sardar Patel, on Indira Gandhi. So a lot of our leaders, there are a lot of books on the central, on the politics of New Delhi, or on the important leaders, but there are very few. In fact, there is no book which has been written on how states have been made. And actually, as the Constitution makes it very clear, that India is a union of states, right? Therefore, the states are very important, and it's a federal country. Therefore, it was very important to bring this point for the next generation. What I like to tell the aspiring writers is that they have to read the subject very extensively. And they should not start with any preconceived notion. Because even when I started writing this book, I had no preconceived notion. And a book takes its own life. And you must read all the sources. And whatever you write in the book, if it's a non-fiction book, then whatever you write has to be based either on documentary evidence, or on the basis of personal interviews, or on the basis of certain assessments that you make. But you must be able to explain why you have made a certain point in the notes that you give at the end of the book, because in a non-fiction book, the notes and the bibliography are as important as the main text itself. Thank you so much. Thank you, Businessworld, for inviting me.